Huh? Not yet. It hadn't come over yet. Got these. Honey, it's real. Okay, it's up on my screen, so now we're going to go to creators. There's that. We're going to go to Creator Studio. Then we're going to go to live streaming. Then we're going to go to stream now. Oh, crap. Okay, events. Edit. Got all the tags. Oh, no, I don't want Roswell. I want... Okay, then we go to publish. Okay, would you look and see if we're on, please? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting ready to go live. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, test, test. Hooray, we're on. Okay, this can go down.
Baseball fans very happy to be celebrating North Swan Baptist Church's family night here with our Tucson Saguaros.
Well, with the playing of our national anthem, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to go here for another Pecos League baseball game in Tucson, Arizona. Second game of a 4-game series. We'll be pitting the Tucson Saguaros against Santa Fe in the second of 2, or actually 4, as I mentioned. There are 3 of them here, and then they move on over to Bisbee, Arizona. Last night notes, 4 hits and RBI by Ryan Rentz. Thomas McKenna and Jesse Baker pushed Tucson from behind in the bottom of the 7th inning, and they wound up winning it by a score of 4-3. Daniel Diaz, in his debut, went 7 innings, giving up 2 runs on 5 hits for the win. He's 1-0 on the season. David Robles recorded a hold, and Daniel Hurtado picked up his 5th save. Michael Morris, Ryan Rentz, and Adam Arbania each got 2 hits in 12-hit attack. So we're about ready to go on the mound for the Saguaros. To start things off here will be Cameron Cox. He's 2-2 on the season, has a 6.44 earned run average in 4 games. Got a few rumbling clouds over, and we see a nice little rainbow, a part of one, out in over the right field fence. So they have rain activity in the area. As a matter of fact, they had the tarp out and ready to go down because we had gotten a cell phone warning that came out that said that there was a thunder shower activity in the area. First pitch swung on. Tanner Geisel gets it over to Ryan Rentz. And so before we are even warm in our seats, a 5-3 out makes the first out here of the top of the first inning. Matt Haskins stepping in there, batting .267. He went 2 for 4 last night. Has 75 at bats, so he's been pretty regularly used. First pitch outside for a ball. Everybody pretty much straight away. Tanner Geisel in a little bit at third base. Next one, a changeup, is swung on and missed. 1-1 count. Geisel at third. Michael Morris is at short. Michael Rampone is at second base. And Ryan Rentz is at first base. Hit him. So we'll put a man on first with being hit by a pitch. And that will be the first base runner of the game as Michael Cameron steps in there trying to win the 3rd game in a row, not he personally, but the Saguaros, as they were 2-2 on a road trip, but did get the last 2 games and then won the first home game last night, so 3 in a row. Currently, they are enjoying a 4.5-game lead in the South Division as Roswell, New Mexico, their pursuers, lost last night. Way outside, runner is going. Throw down by Baker is not nearly in time. So move forward on the stolen base will be Matt Haskins, second hitter in the lineup, as Luis Martini is standing in there. Lewis comes into the ballgame batting .318. He was 1 for 4 last night. The Saguaros have historically gotten off to slow starts, swung on and missed. So the count will go to 1-1. They seem to get a run or 2 behind early and then go to work. So this is not particularly unusual to have them with a runner in scoring position in the first inning. This one hit right back up the middle. Morris gets it at shortstop and gets it over to Rentz for the second out of the inning. But that will move Haskins along to third with 2 outs in the top of the first inning. Eric Maria, the hitter. Maria did not bat or play last night. I take that back. He did. I apologize. He was 1 for 3. Stands in there batting .492. Seems a little high. We'll have to double check that batting average for you in just a second. Maria is the catcher. Ball is blocked in front nicely by Jesse Baker. Baker got one of the RBI last night in the Saguaros 4-3 victory. Weird ending to that game last night. There was a play in the ninth inning that ought to go down in the annals of baseball somewhere, fouled off straight back to the screen, and the count will go to 1-1. So far, Cameron Cox has not gotten that first pitch strike in, although the first pitch was swung on by Omar Artson, and he was gunned out by Tanner Geisel from third base to first. Matt Haskins on third, and he will now come home. Base hit to left field and a batted in run for Eric Maria, and that will bring up the third baseman Kevin Alvarez, and this is extremely typical of the Saguaros this year. They just can't seem to get out of that first inning without giving up something, and they consistently come from behind after everything's said and done. As I mentioned, they're on top of the South standings with a 17-6 record, 4.5 ahead of Roswell, New Mexico Invaders. Pitch is a called strike to Alvarez. Alvarez 0 for 4 last night. Big third baseman batting .365. Ball outside, 1-1 the count. 1 run already in, 2 outs here in the top of the first inning as Tucson tries to get themselves squared away. This one skied high to left field. Center fielder Burnell Daly gets over and gathers it in. So a fly out to center field will end the inning, but not before 1 run on 1 hit. And the base runner, the original one, was on because of a hit being hit by a pitch. So we'll go to the bottom of the first inning and see if Tucson can answer back. 13 pitches in the inning for Cameron Cox. 1 hit for a total of 1 and 1 run for a total of 1. And on the way up to bat will be the Tucson Saguaros. Saguaros will send out Michael Morris, Michael Rampone, and Adam Urbani. Talking about that wild play that was in the top of the ninth inning with the Saguaros leading by 2. The Santa Fe runner was on first base, and there was 1 out. Bradley Thomas was on first. With 1 strike to Joey Lacuna, Santa Fe had been running a hit and run, so Thomas was off to second as Lacuna really ripped a line drive to the left of Saguaros third baseman Tanner Geisel. Geisel retreated a couple of steps to his left and then smothered the ball. He kind of had to dive for it. But unfortunately, it rolled past him and rolled out to the outfield grass, which was maybe about 4 or 5 feet away. Thomas saw that Geisel was way off third base, so Thomas, already around second, headed for third, and the foot race was on. The Tucson catcher, Jesse Baker, seeing that third was uncovered, bolted towards the bag, and all 3, Baker, Geisel, and the runner, Thomas, all arrived at about the same time. Thomas got there just a whisker ahead of the other 2. And showing great presence of mind for the situation, Thomas jumped up and headed to the now uncovered home plate for that third run. Hurtado was the relief pitcher at the time. And Daniel started towards third. When he saw everybody tangled up there, he started towards home, but it was too little too late, and Thomas wound up scoring. So very, very interesting play, but as it turned out, Hurtado got the third and final out of the inning and picked up his 5th save. And the Saguaros got their 17th win on the season. Roswell Invaders, 4.5 game back. White Sands, New Mexico Pupfish. The 2 teams, Tucson and White Sands, will play 6 games next week. 3 away and 3 here at Kino Veterans Memorial Stadium. The Pupfish are currently 5.5 games out. Alpine Texas Cowboys have dug themselves out of the cellar. They're 6 games back. And Santa Fe, New Mexico Fuego, or Fire if you will, struggling a bit. Called strike at the knees for Michael Morris. Mike went 2 for 5 yesterday. Got off to a slow start, was 0 for 3. This one misses outside, and it's a 1-1 count. Michael steps in there batting .404. Has one long ball out of it, but for the most part, he's a doubles. If it's going to be extra bases, it's going to be doubles. Wrapped down the line and foul. 1-2 count. Alvarez at third, Artson at short, Martini at second, and Taveras at first for Fuego. Sal Palumbo is out in left field. Matt Haskins in center, and Thomas Bradley is in left. Ryan Harper is on the mound for the Fuego. Off-speed pitch, swung on and missed for strike 3, as Mike was fooled on that pitch and had to reach way out and never caught up with it. Michael Rampone is the stepping in there. Rampone batting .375 on the season. Been away from the club for a couple of weeks. Personal problems that needed to be attended to. Only has 16 at-bats. Has 6 hits, 2 of those double. Again, that changeup fooled the hitter, and Michael Rampone is down 0-1. Alvarez at third is about 2 steps behind the bag at third and to the left just a bit. Fastball drops low and will even it up at 1-1. Middle infielders, Artson at short and Martini, who was at short yesterday, now at second base, back on the outfield grass. And then Taveras is about in the same position as Alvarez as the ball is wrapped past Alvarez into the corner. It came off of his glove, but more than likely they'll give him a hit. And because it came off of his glove, it was very, very difficult for Artson and then Palumbo to get over there and recapture the ball, and it will be a double. So right away, the Saguaros have a runner in scoring position with their hottest hitter, Adam Urbania, coming up. Urbania batting .458. He had a blistering road trip. See if I can get the numbers on that. 17 for 26 on this last road trip. That's around 600, a little bit higher than that. First pitch is down low. So Adam not only has done it with the bat so far this year, but he's been an outstanding outfielder. Night before last, the last out swung on that changeup and missed. The last out in the first inning of last night's game with a runner in scoring position for Santa Fe. And Adam really went a long, long way to get a hold of a ball and rob a base hit. This one swung on along the right side and out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Urbania, the left fielder for the Tucson Saguaros. Man in scoring position is Rampone. A little bit of speed out there. 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning, with a 1-0 count in favor of Santa Fe. Check of the runner to the plate. Swung on and lifted high to Haskins, but not deep enough. We'll see. Here comes the race, and Rampone decides not to test the arm of Matt Haskins. Rightly so, because the ball was right on the money. Second out of the inning, and that will bring up Ryan Retz. Retz last night was 2 for 3, got on by being hit by a batter, and he's now pushed his batting average back up over 300. He's at 308. He got off to a blistering start and then ran into some trouble on a road trip and then a homestand. But now he's begun to come back and moved his batting average up over the 300 mark. That changeup that Harper seems to love floats low, and we have a 1-0 count. Harper 2-3 on the season. has an 8.8 earned run average, not good. Swung on and missed, and will even up that count at 1-1. We've had an even 1-1 count on all 4 batters that have faced Harper up to this time. Strikeouts to walk ratio is about 60%. Swung on and lifted high to the right side. Second baseman Martini now calling him off is the first baseman Taveras, and that will end the inning on a pop-up to the first baseman Taveras. So at the end of 1 full inning of play, Tucson unable to squeeze a run across after having a 1-out double by Michael Rampone. The next 2 batters went out. And after 1 full inning of play, it'll be Santa Fe 1 and Tucson nothing. "14 pitches in that inning for Harper. Gave up 1 hit, but the 1 hit was combined with a hit batsman for Santa Fe. And that's how Santa Fe is up 1-0. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We've had our troubles with the internet webcast in the early part of the season. And now we think, and I hope I don't jinx it by saying something about it, but we think that we've got it straightened out. Alan Scott here with Piper Ballou on camera. Since we only have 1 camera and no switcher, this is a low-budget show here, folks. Anyway, it's going to be on pretty much a static shot, and we'll stick mostly with the play-by-play. Looking forward to a little bit more prep time for next year and an opportunity to get a sponsor or 2 on this. If you happen to be in that category, call us up. Haven't been getting a lot of internet viewing up to this point, but it hasn't been published hardly at all. Clouds beginning to color up a little bit over the center field wall with the flags blowing from left to right. And the center field flag can't seem to make up its mind which way it wants to go. Some of the time it's floating towards the right side, and other times it's kind of dancing around and looking back towards home plate. Chris Taveras will be the batter, Bradley Thomas, and then Palumbo. First pitch is in for a strike. Taveras last night 0 for 4. He steps in there batting .324 and evens up the count. Check that. It's called strike. 0-2 on the hitter. Cameron Cox in for his second inning of work. His battery mate is Jesse Baker. On the knees, called strike 3 looking. And I will tell you this, that Santa Fe has not been particularly pleased with the umpiring staff here. As Taveras walks away, he is grumbling under his breath and also taking a look back at the home plate umpire. Bradley Thomas stepping in. Bradley was 1 for 4 yesterday, batting .253. Check that, .357. I'm a little dyslexic. Not really, just transposing numbers. .357 is Thomas Bradley, the right fielder for the Fuego. First pitch looked pretty good, but it missed the outside corner for a ball. 13 pitches in the first inning for Cameron Cox. Gave up a hit and a run. Also hit a batter. Swung on and missed. Strike 1, 1-1. Crowd not nearly as large as last night, but we've had threatening weather in the area. This one totally gets away from Cox. I don't know what he was trying to throw, but whatever it was had a mind of its own. Nobody on base, so no harm on that one. And actually, Jesse Baker got out there and got a hold of the off-speed pitch. Next one right at the knees, but misses. 3-1 is the count for Thomas. On deck is Sal Palumbo. Palumbo batting .237. Swung on and missed, so we'll go to a full count here, 3-2. Geisel off the line at third base quite a ways because of the left-hand hitting Thomas Bradley. Michael Morris at shortstop is swung around just a bit, not really a whole lot. Urbania in left field is over close to the line. Straight away is Daly in center. This time a save my at-bat swing by Bradley Thomas fouls it off to the left side. And we'll go to the 7th pitch of this at-bat. Right fielder McKinnon, I washed my mouth tonight and can't do a thing with it. McKinnon in right field is pretty much straight away, as is Daly in center. Left-hander Bradley Thomas swung on and missed. It gets away from Baker, but he'll run the throw down to first base, and it'll be the second strikeout here recorded for Cox. Didn't get any strikeouts in the first inning, but he's got 2 here in the top of the second with Santa Fe leading 1-0. Sal Palumbo, the left fielder, stepping up there. Sal did not play last night. One 0 count. Into the dirt. Baker stops it. 2-0. Rain in the area. Fortunately, we can kind of see it between ourselves and the Catalina Mountains over the left field fence. Not that they're right over the left field fence. They're on the other side of the city. But there's a little shower activity there. And we understand there's some to the south of us. Swung on and missed for a strike. 2-1. As I mentioned, they did have the tarp rolled out. They didn't have it over the field, but they had it out there. 2-1 pitch on the way. Fouled off to the right side, and it even up at 2-2. I don't know whether they were practicing or what the story was. The young lady who was the bat boy or ball fetcher for the Saguaros tonight, a little slow on getting out there with some replacement baseballs, and the umpire had to go over and request them. 2-2 pitch outside. Palumbo had a notion but held off on it, and for the second time in a row, we'll go to 3-2. Last time on 3-2, Bradley Thomas struck out. Taveras, the leadoff hitter, struck out looking, and this one lifted to McKenna in right field, almost in his tracks. He takes the ball, and that will end the inning. 3 up, 3 down, and the Saguaros will come to the bottom of the second inning and try to eclipse that 1-run deficit that they have right now.
Help make sure you and your buds have a great time at tonight's game. Be a Budweiser good sport by respecting other fans, and if you are 21 or older and choose to drink, drink responsibly and make a plan to make it home. There's a light green VW with its lights on in the parking lot. Light green VW.
Well, after 1.5 innings of play at Santa Fe 1 and the Tucson Fuegos in the zip category, 2 strikeouts recorded by Cameron Cox there in the top of the second inning as he threw 16 pitches and has 29 so far in the first 2 innings. So checking on the Saguaros and where they're going to be here. 5, 6, and 7 coming up. Jesse Baker, the catcher, followed by Geisel and McKenna. Stepping in, Jesse Baker. Jesse batting .377. He's got a couple of home runs on the season. Went 1 for 2 last night. Got a double, and then they pulled him out of the game. I don't know whether he got tangled up in something because he was 1 for 2 at the time they pulled him. But he is back out there, as it looks like a ball got away in the left field stands. Over to retrieve it and get it back in is Palumbo, and he'll get back to his position, and we'll start the bottom of the second inning with Jesse Baker. Baker, the catcher, he shares duties with Danny Droll. Droll was the one that they switched out last night. Catches that outside corner for a called strike. Kevin Alvarez, the third baseman, a couple of steps behind the bag and about 3 or 4 steps off the bag. Artson and Martini at the outfield grass, and playing up short is Traveras. Swung on and belted to left field. Headed for the corner, but getting over very quickly is Palumbo, as Baker takes a very wide turn, takes a long, hard look, and says, "No, I don't think so." Palumbo did a good job by getting over there, as the ball went over the third baseman's head and headed for the corner. Tanner Geisel stepping in there. He is batting .400. New acquisition, joined the club last Monday on the road. So a leadoff runner is on, and that always bodes well for the team that does that. Second batter up for the Saguaros got on a double in the first inning, but didn't make any farther than second base. So with the leadoff runner on, we'll see how they play it. Swung on and hit towards the shortstop. Artson boots it. So on an error by the shortstop, Artson, that will move Baker over to second base. And that will bring up Thomas McKenna. McKenna 1 for 1 last night, on a couple of walks, and he got hit one time. .311 is his batting average at this moment. Oh, I know what happened. So Eric Maria, the catcher, and Ryan Harper with a summit meeting out there trying to figure out what they're going to do if the ball gets laid down one side or the other. We're in the bottom of the second inning with the Saguaros runner in scoring position and runners on first and second, nobody out. Thomas McKenna, the seventh hitter in the lineup, batting .311. As we hear some thunder rumble in the background. Move towards first, but no throw by Maria. And the ball was down low. Catching core for the Fuego, not afraid to go behind the runner. Swung on, lifted high to left field and short. And Palumbo is over there to take it, so no opportunity to be able to advance. So basically a pop-up to the left fielder for the first out of the bottom of the second inning. Cameron Cox is the next hitter. He'll be followed by Burnell Daly, the center fielder. Burnell went 2 for 4 yesterday, so had a decent outing for being a ninth hitter in the lineup. Swung on, hit between first and second. Let's see if it scores a run because it's pretty short. Bradley Thomas is up and throwing, and they do not test his arm. So a base hit loads him up. Baker will be around at third. Moving over to second base is Geisel. Burnell Daly stepping in there. Burnell, .291. And the Fuego, as they have all along, not worrying about cutting off the run. First and third is in. Playing for the double play, Artson and Martini. This one is lifted softly into right field. It has enough depth not to score the run. The throw is high. Oh, no, it's right on. So the second out is recorded. Well, the ball was just not deep enough to try it. Jesse Baker, the catcher, and as is usual, your catcher is generally not your speed burner on your team. So with 2 outs, Michael Morris is up there. Morris 0 for 1, hits it down the left field side and foul. Stepping in there, Michael is batting now .400. He has 8 doubles and 2 triples and 1 home run. So he does have a little punch to get it out there. This one swung on and bounded towards Martini at second. He gathers it up, and just like the second inning last night, bases loaded, and the Saguaros are unable to capitalize as the third out of the inning is recorded at first base on a throw from second baseman Luis Martini. So the Saguaros come up empty-handed, and after 2 full, still trail 1-0. Kind of interesting with all that activity and bases loaded in the second inning. Only 9 pitches were thrown. 23 after 2 innings for Ryan Harper, so he has an economy of pitches, given up 3 hits and a hit batsman, an error, but nothing came of it. So we'll go to the top of the third inning with the Saguaros still on the short end of a 1-0 count. They didn't do any scoring last night until about the 5th inning. But once they got going, they came away with the win. Fuego will send up the 9th hitter, the pitcher, Ryan Harper. Then to the top of the order to Artson, the shortstop, and the center fielder, Haskins. Harper with a swinging bunt, picked up by Cox and throws him out. First out of the top of the third inning. Artson is the hitter. Grounded out to the third baseman Geisel in the first inning. From the right side against the right-hander Cameron Cox. First one at the knees, a called strike. Cox in the first inning hit Matt Haskins, and that cost him a run as Haskins came around. Changeup misses. Well, by golly, it caught that outside corner. And the count goes 0-2. 1 out here in the top of the third inning with threatening skies all around us. Fortunately, we have not had a drop of rain here, but there are a couple of areas around. Changeup swung on and missed. Gets away from Baker, who then throws it to first base for the strikeout, and that will be the third strikeout of the game so far for Cameron Cox, and the second out of the inning here in the third. Matt Haskins got a base hit, was hit by a pitcher, then stole second base, moved over to third when Martini grounded out. and then came home on the base hit by Eric Marie. And just as I make some comment about no rain in the area, we hear a rumble of thunder from behind the stadium. This one pounded towards Geisel. Geisel has a tough play, picks it up, doesn't get it there in time. So a 2-out base hit for the Fuego. Haskins has been on twice, scored, as I mentioned, in the first inning with Luis Martini coming up. Martini from the right side, Cameron Cox, right-handed pitcher. Martini last night was 1 for 4. Pitch catches that outside corner. This umpire does like that outside corner, painting the black. And lots of times, all it'll do is catch that very front corner of the plate and be called a strike. So if you're sitting in the dugout as a hitter, you need to look and see that so you know that you can step towards right field and get it. And that's exactly what the batter Martini did. A one-hopper to the right fielder McKenna. McKenna gets a good strong throw back in, and it is cut off, so no additional advance by Haskins as he moved over to second base on the base hit by Martini. 3 base hits now given up by Cameron Cox here in the 3 innings that he's worked up to this point. Eric Maria, the catcher, and he was the one that got the RBI base hit in the first inning that got the run in that put Tucson behind 1-0 where it stands right now. 2 outs, but there's a runner in scoring position, men on first and second. Maria pounds it down to Geisel, who will grab it and just step on the bag at third, and that will be the 3rd out of the inning. So an unassisted put out for Geisel at third base, and the inning ends with no additional damage inflicted by Santa Fe. After 2.5, it is 1 Santa Fe, 0 Tucson. These batters are really swinging first pitch in a lot of cases because only 8 pitches were necessitated in the 3rd inning to get the 3 outs, but a couple of hits recorded, so 3 hits total, 1 run on 3 hits and 1 error for the Fuego. And so far for the 3 hits for Tucson, they've come away with the goose egg, but we're headed to the bottom of the 3rd. Players are coming in, I think, because of the thunder and lightning that was just behind home plate here, behind the stands at Kino Veterans Memorial Stadium, as we get another flash of lightning. So rather than risk anybody's situation, umpires have cleared the field. A couple of umbrellas have come out, but I have not seen water dropping, although the young man who brought his drum down here to be an enthusiastic supporter of Tucson, and now people are beginning to move back in underneath the covering. So apparently there's a very light mist going on right now, but the biggest thing has been to avoid the lightning that is in the area as we get another bolt of lightning. In the southern Arizona section, as that lightning was quite a ways away because it took the thunder a while to get here, but neither here nor there. They don't want to mess with it. In southern Arizona, this is the beginning of the monsoon season, a typical tropical air flow coming down from up from the Gulf of Mexico as the umpire comes out and indicates that he wants to talk to the PA announcer and the people over there that are in charge of deciding whether we're going to hang out or not. So a rain delay, apparently the rain not sufficient enough to be able to get the tarp out, but I think more than a rain delay, this is kind of a thunder and lightning delay as we get another flash. Counting off seconds, it's been at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So whatever that formula is, I'm not from thunder and lightning world, so I know nothing about this. Have to share a story with you, though. In San Diego, we had a thunder and lightning storm come through and was living in a house out on Mission Beach that was 3 stories and woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning with a real fireworks display, if you will. So I figured, what the heck, and I went up to the 3rd floor and where the kitchen and the dining area was. Got myself a sandwich and sat right up next to the window watching this spectacular display of lightning that was going on all over the place. And it lasted for maybe 20 minutes, half hour, something like that. It really went on for quite a while for that particular area. So the next morning I go to work, and of course the thunderstorm, the lightning was the topic of conversation. And we had this old grizzled Navy chief. He was a chief bosun's mate, and if you've been anywhere near the Navy, you know that bosun mates are kind of crusty old souls. And they, in many cases, will talk a real gravelly voice and out the side of their mouth and so on. So we're talking about the thunder and lightning, and the old chief goes, "Well, I hope you didn't sit right next to the window. We got people killed that way back home." Oh, my Lord, my heart just sank to the middle of my stomach as we get lightning and thunder a little bit closer, as apparently whatever is approaching is getting a little bit closer. So heading into the bottom of the 3rd inning, Saguaros are behind 1-0. I don't know that I'd be a player sitting on the top edge of the dugout on the fence as high as I can get. But the grounds crew has come out, and it looks like they're going to at least cover home plate or get ready to and cover the pitcher's mound. This, by the way, was, and I guess still is, if you come right down to it, a AAA ballpark. I forget what the seating capacity needs to be if you're going to have a AAA franchise, but they had a lot of teams would spring train here in Tucson. But the greater Phoenix area decided that they wanted to have all the business, and all of their little communities up there built facilities somewhat similar to this one, with not only a fine baseball diamond, but practice fields all around. And they made tax deals and things like that and had an opportunity to attract the teams that were spring training here. As we understand, Korean teams come into this area and spring train. But I will have to admit that I'm new to the area and don't know all the ins and outs of what's going on around here as they are working to cover home plate. I was going to suggest that I get out my songbook and start singing for you, but I just got a really dirty look from my camera person, and I guess we'll put that aside for the moment. Another flash of lightning. Looks like there's a pretty healthy amount of rain between here and the Catalinas, which is a mountain range that is kind of northeast of the ball field. But apparently they have some information, and I just thought of something. We can click on to Wunderweather and see what might be going on there. Get the handy dandy computer out. Hi there. You know, one thing that I really was amazed about many years ago, and this is one of the reasons that I am such a supporter of and admirer of Vin Scully, the play-by-play announcer who is retiring this year from the Los Angeles Dodgers after about 900 years doing their broadcasts, and I don't think I'm exaggerating by a whole lot. But they had a fog out in San Francisco at the ballpark that was right on the bay there, Candlestick Park. And in those days, they didn't have all this stuff back in the studio where they could throw something on and have it run for 15 or 20 minutes and be prepared that way. So Vinny started talking about the simplest topic, and it was about scoring, positions of the players and how you write it down and things like that. And I remember that I happened to glance at the clock in the kitchen when the fog delay first happened because it was a night game, and I believe I was still in school at that time. So I was a little worried about staying up, so I wanted to kind of check that. And I got up and made my sandwich, came back and sat down, and it seemed like that they started the game almost as soon as I sat down, and I glanced at the clock. It had been 40 minutes. And I was just enthralled listening to Vinny tell stories and all the things that went on there. It was really very spectacular. Well, they're getting out sandbags and putting them around the tarp. So it's a possibility that they are expecting winds. Now, the only thing when we were driving down here from north of the area, as the lightning is getting a little bit closer, and now we do see in the stadium lights rain coming down. And it's very noticeable in the stadium lights. So the rainstorm apparently has come in from the west because we have west winds, the flag out in left field blowing from left to right. And we will see whether they feel it's necessary to get the tarp out. The operations manager here is the man in the bright orange shirt, if we happen to have a shot of him. Very helpful gentleman. So I'm trying to find the weather map and see if we can see on Wunder Weather where that rain cell is and whether it's going to be with us for a while or not. Now, don't tell me my internet connection is beginning to act up here. Very gentle rain, not driven at all, but there's plenty of it. And when the rains occur around here during the monsoon season, as you drive around town during this, the off-monsoon season, you see all of these washes everywhere around. And they're dry as a bone. But I am told that when the monsoon comes, it really goes to town as we get the lightning strikes a little bit closer. See if we can get something going here for Tucson, Arizona. Get our radar map up. Yeah, there's a pretty big band of rain clouds to the left of us. To the west of us. And there are actually two bands of them. Apparently we're getting the leading edge of it right now. But there are two rather larger bands behind that, and both of them show a very little bit of red, some yellow and green. And if you're familiar with weather maps, why, you know that the red generally is indicating a fairly strong rain cell, and the kind of pinkish is a little less, and yellow is a little less, and green is a little less, but it is out there, and it seems to be relatively widespread across a wide band, as even though it is dark, The outline of the Catalina Mountains cannot be seen at the moment. The winds heretofore had been kind of dancing around, but now that it has gotten up towards the 8 o'clock hour, they seem to be very interested in staying in one position, and that is driving whatever cloud bank we have to the west of us this way. Nice to note that the highest temperature in the state was in Bullhead City. Thankfully, I've moved out of there. 102 in Bullhead City. And that was the hottest spot in the state, as a matter of fact. Cool up north, though. Grand Canyon had 42 degrees, Flagstaff 47. Not quite down enough to produce any kind of snow showers up there, but they certainly can do that in that area. And we are running behind quite a bit on the internet here, but apparently we're still flowing okay. And the number? Well, 8 souls still with us. I promise I won't get out the songbook. As we said that, somebody left us already. Oh, well. Well, I tell you, I can kind of catch up on my book work here if you feel like sticking around. Going back to the Tucson lineup, I messed up a sort earlier. And so I need to go back and fix it. See, Morris was 2 for 5 yesterday. Poole was 0 for 4. And let's see, Adam Urbania was 2 for 5, so let's get Adam up here correct. 2 for 5, it is correct. Retz was 2 for 3, that one's correct. Geisel was 1 for 2. So we'll go down and fix Mr. Geisel there. And then McKenna was 0 for 3 yesterday. This is not today's stuff, this is yesterday's stuff. McKenna 0 for 3. And let's see, we had Danny Droll was 1, well, he's actually 1 for 1. Didn't get a chance to ask the manager why Droll was pulled out in the 4th inning after he'd gotten a double. But he might have pulled something or stepped on something as they went around. Can still see the rain coming down in the lights. Fortunately, the wind is blowing from behind, so we have a little protection in an open press box that we have here at Kino Veterans Memorial Stadium in the city of Tucson, Arizona. Had a young man that we brought down to the game. He's going into the 7th grade, and he was asked if he wanted to be the bat boy for the visiting team. And he was all excited about doing that, but he only got 2 innings of work on that. So the umpires come out to see what's going on, and now go back underneath the Saguaros dugout down the third base side. Okay, Jesse Baker was 1 for 2. Let's get Jesse taken care of here. 1 for 2, that was yesterday. Daniel Diaz, who pitched an outstanding game yesterday. Really a wonderful 7 innings as the umpires begin to walk over to the Santa Fe dugout to discuss what's going on there. They have an acting manager. Something occurred over there, and So TJ Zarwitz is not only the acting manager, but he's a right-handed pitcher. A lot of times in the minor leagues, you see that kind of activity going on. Well, they're coming out to pick up the sandbags, and I don't know if that's an indication of what's going on, but there is a gap between the front edge of this storm. We can still look up into the lights of the stadium and see the rain being reflected in those lights. So apparently the umpires have decided that it's not wet enough to be a problem. The lightning has subsided. So it might be that they get underway with this thing. Diaz, the pitcher, was 1 for 3. As the players come out, I don't know if this might be a little premature, although it's a possibility. Whoops, there goes a lightning bolt. High in the sky, way outside of left field. Still have yet to hear the thunder from it, so it must be quite a ways away. Looking at that weather picture that we had, kind of interesting to note that that band of storms has follow-up to it. So the weather is trying to recycle and shoot the radar again, and not having much luck with it there. Hopefully we're still on here. So Diaz was 1 for 3. Burnell was 2 for 4. So let's come down to Burnell, 2 for 4. So they're coming out to take the tarp off. Mist is still coming down. I think we got everybody taken care of there. Oh, Keen was 0 for 1 in a pinch hitting role. Boy, he did an outstanding job throwing the other day in his professional debut. So I think we've got it all squared away there. Daniel Diaz, Droll, Devon Poole 0 for 4. Was he? Yeah, he was. Brunel Daly 2 for 4 out of his 9th position in the lineup yesterday. 4-3 victory for Tucson. People beginning to return to their seats. Just a very, very light mist, but you can still see the tiny little raindrops up in the lights here. Now, admittedly, the lights are probably another 50 feet up. And so it's a possibility the rain is drying or not getting all the way down to the field level. It doesn't look like the field is getting particularly wet. So maybe all is well that ends well here. Trying to pick up the radar once again, and it's not picking up. So we'll see sayonara to the radar for the moment. Nice little ballpark here. If you're in the area and have an opportunity to come and see a Saguaros game, please do. Well, the teams are warming up. we tried to get the bottom of the third inning in, and they backed off of it because of the lightning in the area. And the mist came down relatively strong for maybe 5-6 minutes. And now it is still coming down. But it's hard to tell from this vantage point whether it's actually reaching the floor of the stadium. Well, the Fuego going out to take up their positions. And it looks like we might get this thing underway. Still see some mist up in the lights. But I'm guessing that at this height, from where we see it in the lights, that it is not getting down to the playing field. By the way, University of Arizona is in that Super 8 or whatever they're calling it, and working towards getting to the College World Series. And there were a lot of stories yesterday that the starting pitcher for Mississippi State had been drafted number 1 in the June draft that's going on right now. And so they were kind of going, oh, well, we'll get out there and do our best. And all the sports commentators were, oh, well, Mississippi State. Nathan Bannister went out, and along with some relief help, threw a shutout. Arizona got 1 run, and in the best of 3, they are up 1-0. So they beat the fellow that they were supposed to go, ooh, I'm so afraid. 24 minutes on the delay, and we are about ready to go. So coming up for the Saguaros is Michael Rampone. Rampone had to leave the team for a couple of weeks for personal reasons. He's back out there and doesn't seem worse for wear because he got a double in the first inning. I'm sorry? Kind of freshened up the air here, that's for sure. Rampone got that double. He's 1 for 1 on the game. Catches the inside corner for a called strike. Ryan Harper has 1 strikeout recorded on his favor so far and has given up no runs, although he's given up 3 hits, the same number of hits that Cameron. This one lifted to right field, and on his horse is Thomas Bradley. It's over his head, and Rampone will turn and stop at second base. So Thomas Bradley had the ball go over his head, but quite frankly did a pretty decent job of getting back there and holding Rampone to just a double. So Rampone now 2 for 2. And has raised his batting average up to .444. And we have somebody down out there. Well, we look down to write whatever writing that we need to write, and all of a sudden we've got a player down. Did not see how or why it happened. It is the umpire who is down. It looks like he may have, they are removing something from his right leg. It's a possibility that he popped a hamstring there or something. Maybe he slipped on the grass as he ran around to cover third base on the possible play there. We were watching the outfielder get the ball in as the training staff for the Saguaros is out there. He is sitting up, but obviously in distress as they are working on his right calf area. And the only thing I can think of is the possibility that he popped a hamstring, maybe stepped on a wet spot out there as he was trying to get around to third base to watch a possible play over there. Also possibly a leg cramp. Now they do have his shin guard off, and the two trainers have come over to the dugout, and I don't know, he is not moving. He's not standing up, I should say. Talking a little bit with the Fuegos, he's now flexing his right leg. And they are bringing the cart down, so the only thing I can guess here is that he popped a hamstring when he was hustling over to third base. So that's going to create a very interesting situation here. And he is the home plate umpire, and there's a possibility that balls and strikes might be called from behind the pitcher's mound. Now you need to understand that these games are extremely important for the umpires as well. They are trying to work their way up the baseball ladder. As the trainer for the Saguaros is out and attending to him once again. They have the cart parked off of the third base bag and waiting to see what the story is. He's conversing with the players around him, and we get a little bit of a smile out of him there for something that was said. But that has got to sting. Like I said, did not see what happened. We were watching the throw coming in from the outfield, as now the umpire is up. And they have a wrap around his knee, so I'm going to guess that maybe that's what got twisted, which quite frankly is fairly decent news there, because if you pop a hamstring, that is one ugly scene. It stings like the devil. Now, if he just twisted his knee, that also can be a problem, but he is strapping up the shin guards, and looks like he's going to shake it off and go in to call balls and strikes. It's a possibility, however, that the field umpire will rotate around rather than having the home plate umpire. Now he's walking with just a slight limp, nothing really horrible. And he is probably not much older than the players here. The players range in age from about 21 to 24. Going to get some Tylenol, I'm going to assume, and see if that doesn't take care of business. Still a little ginger on the right leg, and what they did is they wrapped his right knee, so the umpire will come back in with nobody out here in the bottom of the third inning and a runner at second base. We just had a rain delay, and it may have been that they just got enough wet down that the umpire stepped wrong on it and twisted his knee. Certainly hope that nothing more than a simple twisting of the knee is what's going on. Urbania is stepping in. He's 0 for 1 tonight, batting .454. So Rampone, his return to the lineup, announced with authority as he's wrapped out 2 doubles here, and he rests at second base right now. Going to third. Throw to third is not in time, gets away and goes into left field, but Rampone was down and did not get up quickly enough. So the stolen base, as the pitcher, Ryan Harper, apparently caught up in what was going on, really did not check Rampone at all, and he had a tremendous running head start to third base. Even with that, a throw right on the bag would have made it a very, very close play. 1-0, hit to right field. That'll score a run, and it's all tied up. So a run batted in for Adam Urbania. And we have it even at 1-1 with nobody out here in the bottom of the third inning. Rhett steps in there. He is batting 0 for 2. Check that 0 for 1. As he steps in, batting 3. Check that. Rhett is batting 304. Ball gets away. And no play at second base as Urbania gets over on a stolen base. Might be called a pass ball, but we won't be that harsh a judge on Eric Maria, who was the catcher, because Urbania was on the run already before the ball got away from the catcher. 1-0 pitch, misses low, and 2 balls and no strikes. Bottom of the third inning, 1 run in, a runner on scoring position, and nobody out. Ryan Retz is up, followed by Baker and Geisel. Hit to right field, and I don't think it's hit deep enough and hard enough to score the run, so they will hold Urbania up at third base. And the third hit in a row, a double and 2 singles, have got runners on the corners and nobody out here in the bottom of the third inning. Jesse Baker coming up. Baker is 1 for 1 on the ball game and steps in there batting 387. Jesse has a couple of home runs and 10 RBIs, has 3 doubles and 1 triple. We're in the bottom of the third inning, and suddenly the bats have come alive. Breaking from first is Retz. The ball gets away from the catcher, and it will be a run scored as very wisely Retz moves all the way around to third base. So a stolen base and a advance to third on the pass ball or wild pitch. And coming home to push the Saguaros into a 2-1 lead is Adam Urbania. So Baker is up there with 1 ball as the game has suddenly gotten away from Ryan Harper here after we had a 24-minute rain delay and an umpire down and injured that cost another 5 minutes or so, maybe more, as Baker takes the second pitch inside for a ball. 2-0 for Jesse Baker, the catcher. Baker is in there batting 387, as I mentioned. To the plate, swung on and hit right back up through the middle, and that will be another run for the Saguaros. 4 base hits in a row. A run batted in for Jesse Baker, and that will bring up Tanner Geisel. Geisel got on an error in the first inning, so 375 is his batting average right at the moment, as the Santa Fe club has someone warming up in their bullpen. Taking a long, hard look at it, it looks like it might be Michael Hahn out there. So a 24-minute rain delay and about a 10-minute umpire injury delay, and it's nice to note that the umpire did kind of jog back behind home plate after breaking up the conference on the mound. But Ryan Harper has given up 4 consecutive hits and 3 runs here in the bottom of the third inning. Let's see if Baker moves from first base. Each runner that has gotten to first base in this inning has broken to second. Pitch is inside for a strike, and that is the first pitch strike that has been thrown by Harper during this inning, with the exception of Michael Rampone. And then Rampone hit the second pitch that Harper threw for a double. Then 2-3 singles in a row, and we have 3 runs in. This one catches that outside corner, and a couple of strikes on Tanner Geisel. Geisel did get 1 home run on the road, has a couple of doubles to his credit. Just joined the club about a week ago. Well, actually less than a week. He came on Monday on the road. Misses out. Oh, by golly, they called that outside corner for a strike. And that is going to be the first out of this, the bottom of the third inning, with Thomas McKenna coming up. Thomas is 0 for 1 on the night. Thomas batting .308. He has a couple of home runs. Runner goes. Broken bat down to third base. Alvarez. Alvarez guns it over to first for the out. And because he was way off the bag, around to third base goes Jesse Baker. And we'll have to mention that the umpire did run down and cover the play at third base. So he apparently is okay. Well, McKenna records the second out of the inning, but heads-up play by Jesse Baker. Pretty much the same thing happened yesterday to the Saguaros when Geisel had to come way off third base. The runner was going and was able to win a foot race to third base and then realized that the catcher had come down to cover the bag, and he popped up and came home for the third run. Ground ball out to Artson. Artson, high throw, but grabbed by the first baseman Taveras, and that will be a 6-3 out. So 3 outs in a row after 4 batters reach base, and after 3 full innings of play, it is 3 for the Saguaros and 1 for the Santa Fe Fuego. 4 hits during the inning, so 7 total for the Saguaros as the trainer comes out and takes a look at the umpire once again, kind of straps and tightens up that knee brace that's on there. Don't know if the umpire had a problem earlier with the knee, but we're going to guess that when he hustled down to third base to cover a possible play over there, that he hit a wet spot and wrenched his knee a little bit. He was down for 5 or 10 minutes, but as I mentioned on that play at third base just now, he was over there hustling and got the call. Well, surprisingly, only 15 pitches thrown that inning by Ryan Harper, but he gave up 3 runs. Second pitch hitting was Rampone. First pitch hitting was Urbania. Third pitch hitting was Retz. Third pitch hitting was Baker. And then 3 outs in a row. And during those 3 outs, there were only 5 pitches thrown. So sometimes the number of pitches is not an indication of what has happened. 38 pitches so far for Harper. And they did have Michael Hahn, a right-hander, up in their bullpen. But we have yet to see whether he will come in. Cameron Cox for the Saguaros is coming out for his 4th inning of work. He has 4 strikeouts, has given up 1 run. Hit a batter, but has not walked anybody. So suddenly he is staked to a 3-1 lead here as we go into the 4th inning. And the Fuego will send up 5, 6, and 7 in the order. Kevin Alvarez, Chris Taveras, and Bradley Thomas. Alvarez 0 for 1 on the evening, is batting .359. first pitch down low to Alvarez, the third baseman. Next pitch misses as well. So it's 2-0 on the hitter. Alvarez flew out to Daly in center field and going 3-0. So apparently the time off of the mound for both pitchers has been telling somewhat. Cameron Cox comes out and he got the strike there. I was going to say on 4 pitches he walked him, but he got the call. And gets a called strike on that one. Gets a little howl out of the Santa Fe dugout. They have not been particularly happy with the calls so far in the ballgame and last night as well. Swung on and hit out towards Rampone at second. Moves a couple of steps to his right and guns it over to first for the first out of the top of the 4th inning. Chris Taveras followed by Bradley Thomas. Taveras took a called third strike and took a long, hard look at the umpiring crew on that one. So 0 for 1 on the night and a .319 batting average for Mr. Taveras. Misses outside. Does Cameron Cox, the right-hander, against the right-hand hitting Taveras. Geisel at third, back quite a ways, swung on and missed for strike 1, 1-1. Geisel has shown that he has a gun for an arm, and so because of that, he plays well back at third base. This one wide outside and gets past the catcher, but no harm, no foul because there's nobody on base right at the moment. We are in the top of the 4th inning. Tucson plated 3 in the bottom of the 3rd, and it's 3-1 in favor of Tucson right now. This one fouled straight back, and the count will even up at 2. Everybody pretty much straight away. The only exception is the exceptionally deep play of Geisel at third base. In the dirt and outside, Baker smothers it and will run out to a 3-2 count. Had 3-2 on Alvarez and got him to ground out. Went 3-2 on Palumbo and a flyout. 3-2 to Bradley and a flyout or strikeout. Swung on and a miss of a ball that was probably out of the strike zone. So Cox has been a little shaky with a couple of 3-2 counts here over the last couple of innings, but he escapes that one with a swung on at a ball missed strike. Bradley Thomas up. Thomas struck out in the first at bat, by the way, on a 3-2 pitch, and he is batting .351. Just missed inside. That's a pitch that the right-handed batter seemed to be called strike on, but with the left-handed batter up there against the righty Cox, he didn't get the call. This one down low and in the dirt. And Cox showing a little bit of rust after our nearly 30-minute, well, probably closer to 35-minute now delay, in combination with pulling the players off because of lightning in the area and a little bit of rain. Whoa, almost got him. Probably found out that Thomas didn't shave and was trying to help him out. 3-0 the count. Gets that outside corner called strike, and it's 3-1. Palumbo is the on-deck hitter, and he'll be followed by the pitcher's spot. As much trouble as Harper had, swung on and missed, and we'll go to 3-2 now for the third time this inning. Did have Michael Hahn up in the bullpen, just kind of standing around out there right now. This one fouled back over the screen. bangs into the, you could make a symphony out of that, bangs into the aluminum overhanging and then banged into the lower level aluminum overhanging. So we got some bells rung, fortunately not in the concussion category, but in the rattling off the superstructure category. 3-2. Changed up on him and got him swinging for the third out, so 3 up, 3 down, even though he threw a lot of pitches. And that will keep the score after 3.5 innings of play, 3 for Tucson and 1 for Santa Fe. "19 pitches in the inning. We have the kids out running, and we've explained several times. Whoa! The PA announcer called go, and our mascot, who generally leads the way all the way around, was holding his hand up and saying, no, 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 not start yet. A couple of little pumpkins lost their shoes, now back up and running. One little guy doesn't look like he's much over 2 or 3 years old, making the run around. They don't have a Sunday afternoon game here, so that's why they run the kids in the middle of the, what is this, the middle of the 4th inning. The gentleman that is the mascot in the mascot uniform is just one of the nicest guys on the planet. And we still, huh? Okay, you're getting the last one around, little pink pumpkin there. Sprinting towards third base, aided by Grandpa maybe. Although the way some families are putting off having their youngsters, it's a possibility that's Dad. It's gotten to the point now where I don't say things like that. Oh, is this your dad? Is this your grandpa? No, I'm not going to go there. "56 pitches so far for Cameron Cox on the game. No hits there, so a total of 3 for Santa Fe. And we will come back to the bottom of the 4th inning with the Saguaros at bat enjoying a 2-run lead here that they produced in the 3rd inning. Burnell Daly 0 for 1, flew out to the right fielder Thomas Bradley. Looks at a changeup up high. Boy, that is not where you want to throw that changeup. Next pitch, offered at it for a second and held up, according to the first base umpire. And it was called a ball, 2-0 on Burnell Daly, center fielder for the Saguaros. This one just missed inside, and it's going to go to 3-0. So Harper continuing to struggle as he did after the rain delay and the umpire injury delay. Comes to the plate 3-0. Gets it on the knees for a called strike. Daly 0 for 1, steps in there batting .288. 3-1, swung on and hit back through the middle. Artson gets him at first base. Boy, that was an outstanding play. Came off the glove of Ryan Harper and towards the shortstop, Omar Artson. Artson came on hard and strong, got the ball, and in one motion got it over to first base. So it's the first out of the bottom of the 4th inning for the Tucson Saguaros, and we'll go to the top of the order. And this will be Michael Morris. Michael started off 0 for 3 yesterday, but then got 2 key base hits later in the game won by the Saguaros 4-3. Whacked right back at the pitcher. I think it hit him on the right calf. He goes over and grabs it, so might think about going out and checking that one out. Hit him on the left calf as the ball was rifled right back up the middle. And as he was finishing his motion, You could hear it hit pretty solidly. Umpire out there, along with the interim manager for the Fuego, that is T.J. Zarwitz. But I guess Harper convinced him that he was okay, and they aren't even going to give him a couple of warm-up pitches here, which frankly he deserves. He took that pretty hard shot. Rampone 2 for 2 tonight as his return to the lineup has him batting .444 at this particular point. Inside pitch, 1-0. Morris on first, not afraid to take off. He's stolen 5 of 8, so not a particularly stellar record, but still he's gotten 5 of them, and he's off and running. Change up low and in the dirt, the throw down right on, and they got him. The catcher's throw, Eric Maria, was right on the bag. If it had been anywhere else, Morris would have been in there with it. The pitch was a ball, but that was probably as fine a throw to second base as you're ever going to see. It was right at the exact spot that Morris was sliding into. 2-1 now the count. Swung on and fouled off to the left side. Hits the front screen of the Saguaros dugout. 2-2 is the count. Not exactly sure with the hot bat that Rampone has shown here that you wanted to put the runner in motion. I don't know whether it was a missed hit and run or not. Might have been. Swung on and missed, and that will be the second out of actually the third out of the inning. Recorded the second out on the steal attempt. So as it turns up, 3 up and 3 down. So Harper, after being roughed up in the third inning for 3 runs, comes back out here in the fourth and in short order retires Tucson. So after the end of 4 innings of play, it is Tucson 3 and Santa Fe 1. Sure appreciate you staying with us here. We had that delay. And now back in shape here as we go to the top of the 5th inning. 24-minute rain/lightning delay. I think it was more about the lightning. And then on the very first play after we got going, a hard hit to right field, sending the runner from first base around to third. And the home plate umpire, doing what he would need to do, as only 2 umpires are assigned to Pecos League games, was hustling down to third base to cover the play there, and apparently twisted his knee. I'm going to assume that he got into a little slick spot on the grass. Not a lot of rain fell, but definitely enough to make things a little moist. So fortunately, we watched the very same umpire hustle down to third base to cover a play where Jesse Baker was heading into third, and he seemed to be moving rather well. So thank goodness the young man, and he is a young man along with these young players, all of them trying to move up from this particular level of baseball. So we're going to the top of the 5th inning, and that will have the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Fuego. 9th hitter Sal Palumbo is 0 for 1. First pitch swinging, fouls it off to the left side. So with the 0 for 1 for Palumbo, he steps in there batting .231. He did not play last night. Off-speed pitch drops in there for strike 2, so Palumbo behind on the count, 0-2. Top of the fifth inning, 3-1 in favor of the Saguaros. Pitch on that outside corner and a called strike three. And once again, a Santa Fe batter looks back questioningly at the home plate umpire, but that isn't going to change anything. Well, they're going to send Harper out. He kind of redeemed himself in the bottom of the fourth inning after giving up 3 in the bottom of the third. Harper bounded one back to Cameron Cox back in the third inning and got the out over to Retz at first base. First pitch is down low for a ball. Harper 0 for 1, 250 on the year. Swung on the outside corner and missed it. 1-1. Retz is back at the outfield grass at first base. Rampone in a similar position at second. Swung on and hit right to Michael Rampone. Scoops it up and gets it over to Retz, and that will record the second out of the inning. So 2 gone, and we go to the top of the order. Omar Artson, 0 for 2, and he bounces in there, batting .238. Artson grounded out to Geisel at third base, and then struck out swinging. This one he bounds down to Geisel once again. Big third baseman gets it and gets it over to first base. Geisel doing an excellent job patrolling that third base area. They had Rivera over there for a while and Morris over there for a while, but they picked up Tanner at the beginning of this week, and so far it has shown to be an excellent acquisition. 3 up, 3 down, no runs, no hits, and no errors there in the top of the fifth inning. So after 4.5 innings of play, it is Tucson 3 and Santa Fe 1 with Tucson on the way up to bat. Kind of an interesting setup here in the Pecos League. Bisbee, Arizona had a team in the league in recent years, and they have a very vintage stadium over there that they're very proud of. And so when they established things over here in Tucson, and there was already a conflict with the tenant over here, kind of a traveling senior team, they decided to go ahead and play in Bisbee on Sunday, so that's why they have 3 here. Then the same 2 teams head over to Bisbee and play it on Sunday, and had that explanation a little bit earlier as why they have the kids running the bases in the middle of the game instead of at the end of the game. Urbania stepping in. Boy, he had a road trip to remember. Batted over 600. Steps in there right now with a 1 for 2 situation, and that has his average at .459. Wraps it towards the hole at third, but getting over to pick it off is Alvarez. And 1 pitch, 1 swing, 1 out. That will bring up Ryan Retz. Retz is 1 for 2. And he steps in there with a .312 average. Ryan got off to a great start this season and had the batting average in near 400, but then kind of hit the skids there, and it dropped down below 300 as he looks at a called first strike. He got 1 of 4 consecutive base hits in the third inning and came around to score. Hits it out towards Artson. Artson makes a nice move to his left and gets it over to first base just in time. Good scoop by Chris Taveras over there to record the 6-3 out. Jesse Baker stepping in, and Jesse is 2 for 2. Actually has had 3 consecutive base hits dating back to his last at-bat last night. Got a hit there, and now he's cranked up 2 of them, stepping in, batting .397. First pitch misses inside for a ball. We have 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning with Tucson leading by a score of 3-1. Nobody on base and a couple of outs. Swung on and belted down the left field line, foul. Baker got a base hit in the 2nd, but ended his tenure at 3rd. And he ended the tenure at 3rd also in the 3rd inning. However, his base hit got an RBI. So a couple of hits and an RBI, fairly decent night's work up to this time for Mr. Baker, the catcher for the Saguaros. 1-1 the count. Misses inside again, and it'll be 2-1. Haven't heard any lightning bolts go, thunder resulting from that. Pitch is a little bit high, and it will go 3-1. So apparently those rain squalls that we saw west of the ballpark swung on and hit down towards Artson. Artson backhands it, gets a good strong throw over to first base, and a 3-up, 3-down inning. And 2 of the outs recorded at shortstop by Artson over to the first baseman Taveras. 3-up, 3-down here in the 5th inning, and after 5 complete innings of play, it is 3 for Tucson and 1 for Santa Fe. Eight pitches that inning. So in actuality, Harper, even though he got roughed up for 3 runs in the 3rd inning, has had an economy of pitches, 57 through 5 innings of play. Certainly will take that any day of the week. The Saguaros have accounted for 8 hits against him so far, 4 in that 3rd inning. So it is 3 runs on 8 hits and no errors for the Saguaros. And coming up will be the Fuego, the fire, if you will. See, my 2nd year high school Spanish that I got a D- is paying off. Haskins, Martini, and Maria will be up for the Fuego. And Cameron Cox will come out for this, the 6th inning of work for Mr. Cox. So far, Cameron has accounted for 6 strikeouts, has given up only 1 run, and has given up only 4 hits. Actually got himself into a little bit of a problem in the 1st inning by hitting the 2nd batter that he faced. And then Matt Haskins stole 2nd, moved around to 3rd on a ground out to the shortstop, and was driven home by one of the batters that will be coming up this inning, Eric Maria. And that was the 1 run. And ever since then, Cox has been in pretty much command. He did have a runner in scoring position in the 3rd inning. And nobody has gotten past second base in the last 2 innings. As a matter of fact, he has retired 7 in a row. So we're waiting here for the home plate umpire to be administered to again. Looks like they are trying to rewrap the right knee that he sprained, or was it the left? Had to be one or the other. See, I'm right on top of it. But they have him in the Saguaros dugout right now. And out he comes. Have to give the young man credit that he has come back out. And even after the knee went, although apparently it's a sprain and nothing more, at least we'll hope that for him, he still hustled down to third base to cover that one. As I mentioned earlier, in the Pecos League, they only have 2 umpires out there, so the umpires have to move around pretty gingerly. Matt Haskins is the center fielder for the Fuego. He looks at the first pitch as a called strike. He got hit in the first inning and came around and scored, and then got a base hit in the third, but was erased at third base. Check swing wasn't checked enough, and that will be 2 strikes against Haskins. Swung on and hit between first base and second base, so a 2-strike pitch that was close enough to hit is going to cost Cameron Cox another base hit. It'll be the 5th on the evening, and the leadoff hitter for the Santa Fe Fuego is on with a base hit. Luis Martini, Eric Maria, and Kevin Alvarez, if it goes that far. Martini, right-handed hitter against Cameron Cox, right-handed pitcher. So Martini steps in, one hit in 2 times at bat. Ball gets away from the catcher. Boy, the throw was right on the button, and Cameron Cox thought it was an out. That was pretty much an outstanding throw like we saw coming from the catcher for the Fuego, Eric Maria, only the out was made. So it is a stolen base credited to Haskins, and that is the 2nd stolen base that he's gotten here tonight. First pitch was a ball in the dirt, so a little hard for Baker to handle. Bunt. Cox looked to third base and decided against it and went to first base with Retz covering. But that moves the runner down to third. So a sac bunt for Martini will not change his situation as Eric Maria comes up. He is 1 for 2. Got a base hit back in the first inning and a run batted in. So far the only run scored by Santa Fe. First pitch swinging, dribbled off to the right side, and it's 1-0. 0-1 pitch with a runner on third base and 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. This one hit sharply out to Rampone, smothers it and gets it to first base, but that will create a run batted in for Eric Maria and the 2nd out of the inning. So our score goes to 3-2. Last night's game ended in a 1-run decision. Fortunately for the hometown gang, the Saguaros won it by a score of 4-3. Explained a little bit earlier how that 3rd run was accomplished, and it was a wild one. Alvarez up there, he is 0 for 2. Swung on and fouled back to the screen on the first pitch to him. Alvarez batting .354 as he steps in there. Last night he was 0 for 4. Very, very open stance, has his foot all the way around towards third base. And very wisely, Cameron Cox goes to that outside corner and gets a called 2nd strike. 0-2 on the hitter, Alvarez, the third baseman for Santa Fe. Couple of outs and a run in here in the top of the 6th inning, 3-2 in favor of Tucson. This one in the dirt, nobody on, so there's no advance, and the count is 1-2. Temperature has really cooled off since our little rain shower here, and very, very pleasant at Kino Veterans Memorial Stadium. If you're in the area, we've got a ball game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. This one lifted high to McKenna in right field, but he is drifting back and squares away on it and gets the out. Very inexpensive to come to the ball game and watch the Saguaros play. They are very successful this season as they are on top of the South Division standings of the 10-team Pecos League. They are 17-6. They are 4.5 games out in front. Santa Fe really has given them everything that they could possibly give them, even though they are at the bottom of the standings, 5-18. But we had a one-run game last night. We have a one-run game here tonight. White Sands beat Roswell 16-5 last night. Garden City playing Great Bend won that game 5-2. Salina 8-4 over Topeka. On tonight's schedule, Garden City is at Topeka, Salina at Great Bend, Alpine, Texas at Trinidad, Colorado. Of course, this Santa Fe Tucson game here, and then Roswell is at White Sands. Tucson will be playing White Sands 6 games next week, 3 on the road, and then actually 7 games next week, 3 on the road, and then 3 here, and then 1 over in Bisbee in the rather unusual scheduling that needed to be done because of the use of Kino Stadium. On our way to the bottom of the 6th inning, and it'll be spots number 6, 7, and 8. Tanner Geisel will be stepping in for the Tucson gang. He got on an error in the 2nd inning and then struck out looking in the 3rd. So here we are in the bottom of the 6th inning. Ryan Harper out for another inning of work. Three strikeouts has Ryan Harper. Given up 3 runs. First pitch is a ball. Second one on the way. Misses outside, and it's 2-0. Geisel will be followed by McKenna and Cox. Cox has not thrown enough pitches to be concerned about coming out of the game. 2-0 count on Geisel. Inside gets away from the catcher Maria. And 3-0. Ryan Harper has been a little erratic. He had a very difficult 3rd inning. And now in the 6th inning, struggling a little bit to start things off. 3-0 to the third baseman Geisel, who is 0 for 2, the automatic in there for a strike. Geisel batting .353. Came on at the first part of the week on the road and has gotten off to a very nice start. Ball 4. And the leadoff runner is on, just like the leadoff runner got on in the 3rd inning, and that's when the Saguaros got busy with 3 runs. McKenna steps in. Thomas, the right fielder, is 0 for 2, 304. Shortstop Artson asked the field umpire to move a little bit, and he did. And then, of course, the center fielder Haskins can also ask an umpire to move around, but fortunately the umpire is to the right field side of the pitcher's mound. Runner stays at first base. The first pitch down low for a ball. So far, Geisel has attempted 1 stolen base and gotten caught. He has a very, very short lead at first, and the pitch is at the knees for a called strike. 1-1. Geisel got on an error in the 2nd inning and got around to second base on a bases loaded situation. But the Saguaros squandered that opportunity. This one in the dirt, nicely stopped by Eric Maria. Keeps the ball out in front of him. and keeps Geisel from moving down to second base. Got a pitcher out warming up once again out in the bullpen. Earlier it was Michael Hahn. Try to catch a number out there for you. Down low, little grouchiness comes out of the Santa Fe dugout as they felt that it was there. But 3-1 is the count. Three-one pitch. Down, whoa, they called that a strike. Hahn is up in the bullpen, but is not throwing very seriously. Just kind of keeping his arm limber. 3-2 count on the hitter McKenna. We'll see if Geisel goes. He does not. It's wrapped down to Artson. It might have been a good idea for Geisel to have gone because it is a recorded 6-4-3 double play. That will take you out of an inning real quick without regard to whether you get the first guy on or not. Cameron Cox is the scheduled hitter. And Cameron from the left side does come up there. He'll be facing the right-hander Harper. And Cameron Cox is 1 for 2 on the evening. Cameron has a pretty healthy batting average there. First pitch in for a strike. Cox is batting .455, and he is going to go up. Hits it between the first base and second into right field. And that will be the 9th hit given up by Ryan Harper tonight. But there are 2 outs after the double play that McKenna hit into, and that'll bring up Burnell Daly. Daly placed at the bottom of the order because he's been struggling with the bat a little bit. He went 2 for 4 last night. However, tonight he is 0 for 2 and steps in there batting .284. First pitch misses for a ball. Doubt very seriously if you would send Cox from first base because he's the pitcher number 1. And secondly, he has not stolen anything this year. At the set to the plate, swung on up the middle. Looks like it's going to be a seeing eye base hit. So with 2 outs, 2 base hits in a row, that one just lofted like a short 9-iron into center field. And the Saguaros have a runner in scoring position with Michael Morris up there. Michael is 1 for 3 on the night. He got a slow start last night and then got base hits in his last 2 at-bats. And this is kind of the pattern tonight. Struck out in the first, grounded out to the second baseman Martini in the second, got a base hit in the 4th inning, comes to the plate and fouls off to the left side for a strike. Michael batting .402. He does have a little pop in his bat, a couple of doubles, 2 triples, and a home run. 13 RBIs on the season. He went 2 for 5 last night. To the plate, in the dirt, nicely blocked by Maria, but the runner goes to third and he's gunned out. Well, Maria did a good job of keeping the ball out in front of him. As a matter of fact, he even kept it heading towards third base. He pounced on it and got the ball gunned down to third base as Cameron Cox took off right away. Not exactly sure you want your pitcher to be running like that, but he did it and was thrown out at third base. So Michael Morris will lead off the bottom of the 7th inning. And after 6 full innings of play, the score is 3-2 in favor of Tucson, and we're going to the top of the 7th. "15 pitches for Harper in that inning. 72 on the year. 72 on the game, but he did give up a couple of hits, so there are 10 hits on the board for the Saguaros. Looking at our line score, 3 runs on 10 hits for the Saguaros from Tucson, Arizona. And for the Santa Fe Fuego, they have 2 runs on 5 hits, 1 error. The error did not figure into the scoring. So Cameron Cox will be out here for his 7th inning of work. He struck out 7, given up a couple of runs now, and 5 hits on the evening. We'll look at the 6th, 7th, and 8th hitter for the Fuego. It is Taveras, Thomas, and Palumbo. Taveras is 0 for 2, has struck out twice. Looks at the first pitch as a called strike. Taveras steps in there batting .315. 0-1 pitch on the way, also swung on and missed. And right away, Chris Taveras finds himself in the hole 0-2. He was in that position in the 2nd inning and looked at a called 3rd strike and gave an angry look at the umpire. Struck out swinging on 3-2. This one has popped up on the right side. Rents over to take a look at it, and it is about 3 rows into the stands, and Rent's arm only went 2 rows into the stands. So a second life here for Taveras. Actually, Rentz did a pretty good job of getting over there, making sure that he had himself firmly planted against the sideline wall and reached in, but the ball fell maybe 6-8 inches off of the tip of his glove. And we'll come back 0-2 to Taveras. Bradley Thomas in the on-deck circle. Cameron Cox winding, coming to the plate. Misses outside. 1-2. Top of the 7th inning. 1-run differential. Tucson up by 1 after they plated 3 back in the 4th inning. This one swung on and fouled down the right field side. And so we will come back with pitch number 6. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes against the first baseman, Chris Taveras. This one also fouled off the end of the bat into the right side stands. Taveras also will catch. However, they did pick up a new player, Eric Maria, so Taveras has pretty much stayed on first base now, but in the first series that they came to Tucson, he caught 1 game and played first base twice. This one just misses outside. Rampone at second base made quite a gesture, saying, hey, what? But it'll even up at 2-2, and the 8th pitch of the at-bat, so Taveras has done a good job of fouling off a couple of pitches to keep himself alive. 2-2, swung on and fouled into the stands on the right side. So with a 2-2 count, we will go to pitch number 9. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out in the top of the 7th inning, nobody on. Cameron Cox in for his 7th inning of work, 6 strikeouts, 5 hits, 2 runs. This one is popped up, and it looks like Rampone has a bead on it, moving over towards Rentz at first base, but Michael will grab it for the pop-out first out in the top of the 7th inning. Bradley Thomas up there. Thomas has struck out swinging twice. Last night, every time at bat, he attempted to bunt at least once and went 1 for 4 in his efforts. Geisel is up close at the grass on the third base side. First pitch strike. Going 0 for 2 to this point. Bradley is batting .345. Swung on and missed for the second strike. And that will now move Geisel back off. He is quite a ways off the line. They don't really have a shift per se, but the left-hand hitting Bradley Thomas is up there against the righty Cameron Cox. This one hit to the left side. Urbana over against the line, and he grabs it for the out. So Adam Urbana was over there, shaded that way in case Bradley Thomas swung late on a pitch, and in fact he did. But fortunately, Adam was right there to pick it off, and that is the second out of the inning with nobody on. Pinch hitter coming up there is Acuna. Looks at the first pitch inside for a ball. Last night, Joey went 2 for 4, so a little surprised that they didn't have him in there tonight. This one wrapped right back up the middle, and Acuna has started right back up where he left off last night. So Ryan Harper will come up as the hitter with a couple of outs. Try to see if Acuna is a threat to run. No, he hasn't done anything yet, although they were kind of expecting it. 1 ball and 1 strike to Harper. Couple of outs here in the top of the 7th inning. I wonder if Acuna was actually in there the whole time, that we had a roster change and they didn't identify it because they did not announce that he was a pinch hitter. So kind of interesting. Joey was a new roster addition, and the online roster had Sal Palumbo in there. So not sure whether Acuna was in there the whole time or not. Anyway, the pitch misses, and we have 2 balls and 1 strike on Harper. 3-2 our score, Tucson leading by 1 after having a very productive 3rd inning. Hit straight away to center field, Daly back to get it, and that will be the last out of this inning. So a little bit of a threat with a 2-out base hit, but it is erased as Burnell Daly gets a nice jump on the ball and flags it down in center field. No runs for a total of 2 for Santa Fe. And after 6.5 innings of play, it is Tucson 3 and Santa Fe 2. Well, we'll go to the home half of the 7th inning, and it'll be Michael Morris coming up here. He was at the plate when Cameron Cox took off and headed to third on a ball that got away from the catcher, Eric Maria. But Maria, like a good goaltender in ice hockey, had blocked the ball out towards third base, pounced on it, and got the short throw and the bang-bang 2-5 out at third base to end the inning. So Morris will come up there with a brand new count. Michael Hahn is still lazily warming up in the bullpen, but Harper apparently will be sent out one more time for his 7th inning of work here, as number 37 has done a credible job. I suspect that our rain lightning delay and the injury to the umpire in the 3rd inning, which accounted for about 30 minutes worth of downtime, really affected Harper because he came out and gave up 4 consecutive hits before he got 3 consecutive outs, but those 4 hits resulted in 3 runs, and that's where it stands right now. 3 for Tucson and 2 for Santa Fe. So certainly the game has not gotten away from anybody as Morris looks at the first pitch high and away for a ball. 1 for 3 is Michael on the night, playing shortstop tonight, batting .402. Off-speed pitch misses outside, and right away Harper is in the hole, 2-0. Rampone will follow, and Urbania will follow that. Retz, if we get that far, misses inside, and a 3-0 count. Now, the last inning, the first 2 batters that faced Harper ran him out to a 3-ball count, so he's right back into that groove. This time misses on 4 consecutive, and once again gets a howl out of the Santa Fe dugout. Michael Rampone up there with 2 doubles and a strikeout, so he is 2 for 3 on the evening. 421 is Mr. Rampone. He was gone from the club for a little while as the manager, temporary manager for the Santa Fe Fuego comes out. That's TJ Zarwitz, and he will have a little bit of a discussion with Harper. Hahn doesn't seem to be real intent upon warming up, so Zarwitz might be just out there to discuss the possibility of bunts. Maybe he is passing along some information that he saw and watching Michael Rampone strike out in the 4th inning.
Pull out your raffle tickets after the 3rd out. We'll call out the winners.
Bottom of the 7th inning, 3-2 in favor of Tucson. A runner on first base with nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. Misses inside for a ball, so that is 4 or 5 consecutive pitches that are balls starting off the bottom of the 7th. Morris has a small lead at first base, and there goes the next one for a ball. 6 in a row. Ryan Harper comes straight over the top, hoping to eliminate inside-outside, but so far he has missed on 6 in a row. Number 7 swung on and fouled off to the left side, and foul. 2 balls and 1 strike. Michael playing second base tonight. That's where he was earlier, and then needed to leave the club for a period of time, but has certainly come back with a vengeance, going 2 for 3 tonight. Morris leaning a little bit, this time an attempted bunt, and he missed it. Excuse me for acting like a coach here, but boy, you got to get to the front of the batter's box and get the bat out in front, and don't lunge at it, just catch it so the ball is deadened and dropped down. 2-2 count. That did not happen last time, by the way. Swung on and fouled off down the left side towards third base and out of play. So we'll try it again, 2-2. Rampone got a double in the 3rd to lead things off, stole third base of all things, and then came home on a base hit by Adam Urbania. Urbania is on the on-deck circle right now. This one fouled into the stands to the right side. So Rampone doing a good job of fouling off the pitches that he can't handle. And the count is still 2-2 with Michael Morris at first base. Morris not much of a leadoff and not much of a threat to steal. He tried to steal last time he was on first base and was thrown out. So he's stolen 5 in 9 attempts. Swung on and hit up the middle. Artson over to second. Back to first, not in time. So they get the runner at second base, does Artson, to Martini. 6-4 for the first out of the inning. And on with the fielder's choice at first base is Rampone. Rampone has attempted one steal and not been successful. Urbani up there with a 1 for 3 on the night and batting .455 on the season. I think I mentioned before what an outstanding road trip that he had. Batted over 600 on it. This one inside, nicely blocked by Maria. And that will hold Rampone at first base. 1 out, a man on here in the bottom of the 7th inning with the Saguaros up by just 1. Retz is in the on-deck circle. And this inning, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 batters. This one skied towards third. Alvarez looking for it. Shortstop calls him off, which he should have done. Artson. And that will be a pop out to the shortstop right behind the third baseman, Alvarez. As Omar Artson did a great job getting over there. That's exactly what you should do because the shortstop has a better angle on it. Retz steps in there. Retz is batting 1 for 3 tonight and has his average up to 309. Had dropped below 300 earlier in the week, but is now beginning to swing the bat. Went 2 for 4 last night, or 2 for 3. This one is another sky-high pop-up. Luis Martini is camping under it, having a little trouble with it and loses it. Could not find it. It drifted away from him. I don't think the wind really had anything to do with it, although the wind is now blowing out towards center field in a very, very lazy manner. Not with 2 outs. If it had been less than 2 outs on the play, it would have been called the infield fly rule. But as it turned out, there were 2 outs, and getting over to third base on the pop-up is Rampone. So we have runners on first and second. Check that, first and third with Jesse Baker up there. The runner is going. The throw is down. It's too late. The runner coming down from third. And at the base, he's safe at home plate. And moving over to third base is Ryan Retz. A good heads-up play on both ends of this one as Retz took off to second base and gets credited with a stolen base with Baker up at the plate. And just as the throw went down to second base, Michael Rampone took off and just barely slid around the tag of Eric Marina. And the discussion at home with the interim manager, T.J. Zarwitz, disputing the call at home, but a very heads-up play by Retz as he went all the way around to third. And so with 2 outs, a run is in, and we have a runner on third base. So now a discussion between the catcher, Maria, and the manager. But now the discussion is over with, so we saw some very, very heads-up base running from first base. Retz took off like a shot on a stolen base. The throw went down to second, and what they're arguing about is that there was interference at second base, so they couldn't get the throw home. Jesse Baker swings at this one and misses it. So the count to Baker going 1-1. That was what the argument basically was about. They felt that Retz tied up the shortstop on the throw down, called second strike. But the umpires did not agree, and their throw from second base to home was just barely late, as sliding around the tag was Rampone. And with 2 outs here, the Saguaros have manufactured a run on the double steal basically, trying to steal second, and also as soon as the throw goes down, coming home. 2-2 pitch coming into Baker, who has a couple of hits on the evening. A third hit right here would certainly score a run, and this one is fouled straight back. Jesse has moved his batting average to just under 400, 391 on the evening. Geisel is the next hitter. Swung on and hit down towards Alvarez. He gloves it and will get the out at first base just barely. And that will end the inning, but an outstanding job by the Saguaros as they basically manufactured a run there. And the one run will give them a little bit of a cushion, and this is exactly where they were last night, leading 4-2. And it was an important next run, at least last night, as the Fuego counted one in the top of the ninth inning, but couldn't push the tying run over.
Tucson Saguaros jersey retails for about $70. Here's the winning number, 877-1455. 877-1455. You are our winner. Head over to Destination. And thank you all for participating in the Tucson Saguaros raffle.
Well, the Saguaros got a run in the bottom of the seventh inning without the benefit of a base hit. A walk led off the inning, and then a force out at second base left Michael Rampone on a fielder's choice. He got around to third base on an error on a pop-up in the infield with 2 outs, so it was not called an infield fly rule. And Rampone got around to third base. And then on a double steal, throw down to second base trying to get Retz, who had taken off. The return throw to the plate, and really an outstanding slide by Michael Rampone, getting around the catcher, Eric Maria. And that gives the Tucson Saguaros a little bit of a pad here as they are now up 4-2. Santa Fe has a couple of chances here in the top of the eighth and top of the ninth to be able to catch up. And out now for his eighth inning of work is Cameron Cox. Cameron has given up 6 hits on the evening, but he has paired that with 6 strikeouts and has only given up 2 runs. We go to the top of the order. Omar Artson. Artson is 0 for 3. .227 is his batting average to this point, and Cox catches him on the inside corner for a called strike. Geisel is up a little bit towards the batter so that they can cut off any kind of a drag bunt. The next pitch catches that outside corner, and Cameron Cox, the big right-hander, finds himself up on Omar Artson. 0-2. Artson grounded out in both the first and the fifth, struck out in between, and is now up there in the top of the eighth. Fouls one off, almost catches his compatriot in the on-deck circle in the nose, but fortunately it misses. And we'll go again with 0-2. Haskins is the on-deck hitter, and Martini will be the third hitter of the inning. This is the top of the eighth. 4-2 in favor of Tucson. Rocks fires, swung on and fouled right side. Artson had a pinch hit shot last night and grounded out. 0 for 1 there. Fouls this one to the stands to the right side, and we'll go to the 6th pitch of the at-bat. Artson strictly a singles hitter. Only has walked a couple of times. He's only had 19 at-bats. I'm going to assume that he was a later acquisition, as they had quite a few roster changes in Santa Fe. Back again for the 0-2 pitch. Cameron Cox rocking, firing, swung on and hit out to Morris at shortstop, and he gets it over for the 6-3 out to Retz at first base. So with one out, Haskins will come up. He is 2 for 2. Got hit by a pitch and scored in the first inning, and also scored the second run for the Santa Fe Fuego. That was in the 6th inning. First pitch, a ball. Geisel is still up a little bit at third base. Everybody else is on the outfield grass. Outfielder straight away. Pitch misses outside, and it's 2-0. Haskins, 286. He is the center fielder for Santa Fe. Rocking, coming to the plate, misses low, and it's 3-0. Martini is the next hitter. He has a hit, a sacrifice, and an out in 3 times at bat. Called strike for 3-1 count. Boy, we had some weather in the area earlier. We had a 30-minute rain delay and injury delay. This one hit down the right field side and just fair. On his horse is Haskins, headed to second base, and he is looking like he wants to go to third, but he does slide into second, as getting the ball in quickly was McKenna. That ball could not have been fair by more than a whisker. So a one-out double puts a runner in scoring position for the Fuego, and Luis Martini will come up. Martini played shortstop last night. He was 1 for 4 last evening. 1 for 2 tonight, stepping in there batting .322. A runner in scoring position. First base is open. Cameron Cox floats an off-speed pitch high for a ball. Eric Maria, the catcher, is in the on-deck circle. We have one out in the top of the 8th inning and a runner in scoring position. Ball is nicely blocked by Jesse Baker, but it is the second ball thrown by Cameron Cox here to the shortstop. Check that, the second baseman, Luis Martini. Martini played shortstop last night. He got a base hit in the 3rd inning. Got a sacrifice that moved the runner over, and that runner ultimately scored last inning. This one lifted high to right center field. On his horse is Daly, and Daly gets there and gets the ball on a close play to third, but it was a little offline. Boy, I tell you, Burnell can burn out in that center field spot. That's exactly what you want to have out there. On the fly out to right center field, Martini moves Haskins over to third base, but there are 2 outs. I really thought that that was going to drop in there. It was not hit that long, nor really that high, but Daly got a great first step jump on it, and from his dead away center field position, about medium deep, he flagged it down but was unable to set his feet and get a good throw to third, and that moved the runner over. First pitch to Eric Maria is a strike on the outside corner. Maria got an RBI base hit in the 1st inning, on in a fielder's choice, and then got an RBI ground out last inning. Check that, that would be the 6th inning. Warming up in the Saguaros bullpen is Robbie Moreno. Robbie? They pronounced it Robbie, I'm not sure. Moreno, or Romero rather, sorry. Pitch misses just, he got that, a called strike, and that did not go well with Eric Maria. One ball, 2 strikes to Maria. He is the fourth hitter in the lineup, has a couple of home runs. Pitch swung on and fisted out towards Rentz. Rentz will win the foot race to first base unassisted, and that is the third out of this, the top of the eighth inning, and holds that runner off. He was on third base. So basically, a base hit in the inning, the seventh base hit given up by Cameron Cox. But he does not surrender a run here in the top of the eighth inning. And after 7.5 innings of play, it is Tucson 4 and Santa Fe 2. .110 pitches thrown by Cox, and as we mentioned, Robbie Romero is up and throwing in the Tucson bullpen. The pitcher spot is up third in this inning, as Coach Doughty has his pitcher spot in the eighth position. So it'll be Geisel, McKenna, and then the pitcher spot. An insurance run scored by the Saguaros there in the seventh inning. And it looks like Ryan Harper's evening is done, as coming in from the outfield. And the bullpen out there is number 39, Michael Hahn. Might just be that Michael has left his game out in the bullpen. He's been up and throwing at least 4 times over the last several innings. Admittedly was not throwing real hard, but was up nonetheless. So Ryan Harper carries it through 7 innings. Gave up 4 runs on 10 hits. Struck out 3. The last batter that he struck out was ending the 4th inning. So he did not have that zip on his ball towards the end of the game here. And then with a walk, a fielder's choice, and an error on the second baseman, gave up a run in the bottom of the 7th inning as we go to the bottom of the 8th. And the score is 4-2 in favor of Tucson. So Michael Hahn will come out, take his warm-up pitches, and he will be looking at the 6th, 7th, and 8th position in the Saguaros lineup, the 8th spot being the pitcher's position, and we'll see what happens there. Mitch Wolf goes around to take his first base coaching position. Ben Baker is over at third. And the reason the break in the inning here is taking the time is that Hahn didn't really come out of the bullpen until after everybody was out in their positions. He gets 8 warm-up pitches. Tanner up there, 0 for 2 on the night. Walked his last time up and was stranded at first base, got on an error in the second inning and struck out looking in the third. He steps in there batting .353, has 1 home run and a couple of doubles. First pitch is on the ground practically and a ball. Geisel, the third baseman, will be followed by the right fielder McKenna, and then, as I mentioned, the pitcher spot. Off-speed pitch misses inside. Right-hander against right-hander, Michael Hahn. Check and see if we can find some numbers on him. At the set, takes quite a bit of time between pitches, comes through and catches that outside corner for a called strike, 2-1. Hahn, strictly in relief, has a 5.78 earned run average in 9 1/3 innings of pitching. Gets a swinging strike for a 2-2 count. Hahn has given up 6 earned runs in the 9 1/3 innings. 2-2 on the batter, Geisel. Curveball up high and whiffed at. So that will be the second strikeout for Geisel here in the, not in this inning, but in this ball game. First out, McKenna steps in. McKenna hit into a 6-4-3 double play in the 6th inning and was 0 for to that, so he's 0 for 3 on the night. The big right-hander Hahn misses high for a ball, 1-0. Next one is a called strike on the outer part of the plate, and we'll run our count to 1-1. Thomas McKenna in there with a .301 batting average. Two balls and one strike. Nobody on. One out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. That sweeping curveball, looks like a curve change, drops in there for a strike, and it's 2-2. Saguaros got an insurance run in the bottom of the 7th inning and lead at 4-2. Swung on and lifted softly into center field. Over to get it is Haskins, and that will be the second out of the inning. Let's see who they bring up here. This looks like Lyons coming into the lineup. It is number 32, Tommy Lyons. Lyons batting .261, looks at the first pitch away for a ball. No extra base hits for Tommy. Has been used almost exclusively as a pinch hitter and gets up on the count 2-0. Well, there was a bark from the Santa Fe dugout, and the umpire, finally getting tired of it, turned over and had something to say. Not exactly sure what the words were, but they definitely were delivered with a little bit of vehemence. And the count is 3-0 on the missed 2-0 pitch. 3-0 on the knees for a strike. Santa Fe dugout has been relatively vocal on several occasions, feeling that they did not get the call they should have. This is swung on and hit to Taveras at first base. Over to cover is Hahn, and that will end the inning 3-1. Nobody on, 3 up, 3 down. And that will bring it to the top of the 9th inning and the last chance for Santa Fe. Last night, on the last chance, they made it very interesting on a fascinating play. Sorry I don't have a replay to show it real quick. Four to 2 to the top of the 9th inning. It was 4-2 to the top of the 9th inning yesterday, and the wildest play brought Santa Fe to within 1 run of Tucson. With 1 out, Bradley Thomas got a base hit to first. 1 strike on Joey Lacuna, and Santa Fe ran a hit and run, so Thomas was off to second as Lacuna ripped a line drive to left of Saguaros third baseman Tanner Geisel, who retreated a couple of steps and smothered the ball, but unfortunately for him, it kind of rolled away from him. And while he searched around for it, Thomas saw that Geisel was way off third base, so Thomas headed around to second, headed for third, and the foot race was on. Observing all this was Jesse Baker, the catcher, seeing that third base was uncovered, bolted to the bag, and all three, Baker, Geisel, and the runner Thomas, all arrived just about at the same time, but Thomas did beat it by a whisker, and as they were untangling, Thomas showed a lot of presence of mind for the situation and noticed that home plate was uncovered, so Thomas jumped up and headed to the home plate and scored that third run, but fortunately Daniel Hurtado got his fifth save and squashed it right there, but it was kind of an exciting finish to last night's ball game. Great baseball here at Kino Memorial Stadium. Robbie Romero comes in, and Robbie will try to pick up the save after a very fine job by Cameron Cox. Romero comes in 3-0 with a 3.24 earned run average. He's been in 10 games and pitched 16 2/3 innings. Had to laugh, Robbie came in for 2 batters in a game last weekend, and then in the bottom of the inning that he came in, the Saguaro erupted for 5 runs, and then they replaced Robbie for a pinch hitter. And so just facing 2 batters, Robbie wound up getting the victory. Kevin Alvarez will be stepping in there. He'll be followed by Taveras and Bradley Thomas. So right-hander against right-hander here. First pitch, a breaking pitch, misses outside for ball 1. Alvarez is 0 for 3 on the evening. Inside pitch gets away. 2 balls. 4-2 in favor of Tucson here in the top of the 9th inning, in the last opportunity for Santa Fe. Santa Fe has been much more competitive this time around. Breaking pitch misses, and it's 3-0. So Robbie does not want to get in a situation where he's out here putting runners on. That's the last thing you want your closer to do. Next pitch is the automatic and the called strike, 3-1. Top of the 9th inning, 4-2 in favor of Tucson. Nobody on, nobody out right now. This is the leadoff hitter in the 9th inning, Alvarez. Belts it to left field and down the line. Does not make a real strong move to first base, so obviously was interested only in a single. So a runner on here with Chris Taveras coming up. Taveras has struck out twice and popped up to the second baseman. Taveras 0 for 3, bats .311. Does have some pop, however. Has 5 home runs as we get a pinch runner for Alvarez at first base. See if we can pick up a number on who is out there running. Number 17, so we'll need to track him down. That is Clayton Ballou. Clayton Ballou is a middle infielder, so he certainly has the speed. Number 17, Clayton Ballou, is on at first base. And up at bat is Chris Taveras. The ball gets away from the first baseman on the pickoff play, and Retz could not find it. Throws it on his way to second base, and it gets away. And Geisel got caught in no man's land trying to get to it. So it is going to be an error on the pitcher on the move to second base, and now an error on number 18. That is Retz, and Ballou now moves around to third. So we're going to have a conversation here to see what is going to happen. And a little loose action with the ball was the reason that Santa Fe threatened, but Tucson came away with a 4-3 victory last night. Right now, the third run of the game for Santa Fe is on third base after 2 errors. Actually, if Retz had turned to his left instead of his right looking for the ball, it did not roll that far away. Pitch is strike on the outside corner. Chris Taveras struck out looking in the second, struck out swinging in the fourth, and popped up to the second baseman Rampone, swung on and missed as Robbie Romero breaks one off, and it's 0-2. I did mention that Taveras has 5 home runs on the season, and the first game here in Tucson, he really tore up Tucson pitching. This one a breaking pitch in the dirt. Nice stop by Jesse Baker. 1-2 the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out here in the top of the 9th inning with a runner by virtue of a base hit and a couple of errors is over on third. Romero with the off-speed pitch into the dirt, and it'll even at 2 now. Little bit of activity out in the bullpen for the Saguaros. I believe it is David Robles. He came in and pitched 1 inning last night. His family is here from San Bernardino. Next pitch is swung on and missed, and boy, I tell you what, that was an important strikeout recorded by Robbie Romero. That'll bring up Bradley Thomas. Thomas has struck out twice. So that is Romero's first strikeout and the 7th strikeout of the ball game. First pitch misses. Pitch belted to right field. Going back for it is McKenna at the warning track. This will score a run. He grabs it and records the out, but the third run will come in. The way that ball came off of the bat, it sounded like it was a lot longer distance than that. But the humidity is up a lot here in Tucson, Arizona, as they are beginning their monsoon season, as they call it. And it kind of weighed the ball down. It certainly sounded off the bat like it had a lot more to it. Lacuna is up, and I'm going to assume that we had an error in the roster that we were given, and Joey has been there all along. He got a base hit. Second pitch is a strike. He got a base hit in the 7th inning, so he is 1 for 3. Last night he was 2 for 4. 0-2, purposely thrown outside for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Couple of outs here, 1 run in. 4-3, the Saguaros are on top. To the plate, outside, offered at it. Check the first base umpire. Well, they don't go to him, so it's going to be a ball. And the count is 2-2. Geisel well back at third base. Morris on the grass. Rampone also on the grass. Retz a couple of steps inside. Curveball, strike 3, no question about it. Slow curve dropped in there, and that ended it. So the Tucson Saguaros, for the second night in a row, rack up a 4-3 win. Final totals, 4 runs on 10 hits for the Saguaros, a couple of errors, both of them committed in this inning. 3 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors for Santa Fe. Same 2 teams tomorrow night will be on the webcast at 7 o'clock. On behalf of camera person Piper Ballou, this is Alan Scott saying good night.
two teams will play tomorrow night. 7 o'clock start here at Kino Veterans Memorial Stadium. Once again, Tucson wins it 4-3. Thank you for attending. Please